Imagine a world where colossal creatures, their shells containing up to 1,800 fused osteoderms, roamed freely across the vast plains of South America. This was the reality of the Ice Age, and at the heart of that picture was the Glyptodon. Even Darwin marvelled at its armoured carapace when fossils first arrived on his Beagle voyage, recognising how these remains challenged existing ideas about prehistoric life. Once among the planet's most unique beings with a shell as hard as rock and a powerful club-like tail capable of crushing bone, the Glyptodon challenged the fiercest predators of its time. Yet rapid climate shifts and the emergence of human hunters would test this armoured giant's defences in ways millions of years of evolution hadn't prepared it for. Most people think they know what prehistoric armour looked like, but the Glyptodon's shell defied every rule of natural engineering. Unlike the segmented plates of modern armadillos that allow flexibility, the Glyptodon carried a single dome-shaped fortress made of hundreds of interconnected osteoderms fused into an impenetrable barrier. This wasn't just scaled-up armadillo armour, it was something entirely different, a biological marvel that combined the protective qualities of turtle shells with mammalian characteristics in ways that had never existed before or since. The Glyptodon belonged to the superorder Xenarthra, sharing ancient lineage with modern sloths and anteaters despite looking nothing like its relatives. The name Xenarthra means strange joints, referring to the extra joints in the lower spines that connected all these seemingly different animals to a common ancestor from 59 million years ago. While sloths climbed trees and anteaters hunted insects, the Glyptodon chose a different path entirely, evolving into a walking tank that would dominate South American grasslands for millions of years. Early paleontologists faced a genuine puzzle when they encountered the first Glyptodon fossils. In 1814, Damaso Antonio Larranaga described unusual remains in his Diario de Historia Natural, including a 7-pound femur and mysterious tail fragments that didn't match any known creature. These fossils were initially mistaken for giant ground sloth remains, specifically Megatherium, because researchers had never seen osteoderms of such size and complexity. The confusion was understandable. No living animal provided a proper comparison for what they were examining. Damaso Antonio Larranaga made one of the most significant discoveries in Uruguay during this period, unearthing a femur bone that weighed 7 pounds. Researchers couldn't understand how any animal could support such massive leg bones. The fossil challenged everything they thought they knew about prehistoric mammals and their size limitations. This single bone fragment suggested an animal far beyond their imagination. Richard Owen, the British paleontologist who would later name the dinosaurs, gave the creature its scientific identity in 1839. He called it Glyptodon, meaning grooved tooth, after examining the distinctive malariform teeth that revealed its herbivorous nature. This discovery contradicted assumptions about armoured creatures which scientists expected to be predators. Owen's reconstruction of the skeleton helped establish that this was neither a giant ground sloth nor an oversized armadillo, but something uniquely adapted for a plant-based lifestyle. Comparing the Glyptodon to modern armadillos reveals just how extraordinary this ancient creature was. Today's armadillos can roll into balls and possess flexible shells made of overlapping bands. The Glyptodon's armor was completely different. Its carapace formed a solid dome of fused bone plates, each one fitted together like pieces of a complex puzzle. The creature couldn't roll up like its modern relatives, but it didn't need to. The Glyptodon represented something entirely new in evolutionary history. It combined turtle-like armor with mammalian physiology in ways that had never been attempted before. The shell wasn't just protective covering, it was a completely integrated part of the animal's skeletal system. Thousands of individual bone plates, called osteoderms, fused together to create a dome that could withstand tremendous pressure. The dimensions of different Glyptodon species varied dramatically, but all were impressive. Glyptodon clavipes reached weights of 2,000 kilograms, comparable to a Volkswagen Beetle in both size and mass. A partial skeleton of this species measured 3.5 meters long, with a carapace length of 1.7 meters. Even the smaller species like Glyptodon reticulatus weighed between 401 and 862 kilograms, making them larger than most modern mammals. These weren't just big armadillos, they were biological fortresses that somehow managed to thrive on nothing but plants. The Glyptodon's skull was equally impressive, protected by a bony cap that extended the dome's protection forward. Even the creature's legs were armoured with thick bands of osteoderms, protecting the limbs from attack. The tail, which we'll explore in detail later, was perhaps the most remarkable feature of all, serving as both additional protection and a powerful weapon. Weighing as much as a small car and eating only grass seems like an impossible survival strategy, yet the Glyptodon thrived for millions of years across South America's vast grasslands. This herbivorous giant faced a fundamental biological challenge that would crush most creatures. How do you fuel a 2,000-pound body with nothing but low-energy plant matter? The mathematics of survival didn't seem to add up yet. These armored titans found a way to make it work. The apparent contradiction between massive size and plant-based diet creates a puzzle that stumped early researchers. Most large mammals require high-energy food sources to maintain their bulk, but the Glyptodon broke this rule completely. Their broad, flat teeth were specifically designed for grinding tough grasses and fibrous vegetation, creating an efficient processing system for their primary food source. These molariform teeth showed distinctive wear patterns that revealed their constant work, breaking down cellulose-rich plant material. The Glyptodon's feeding strategy involved slow but steady movement across enormous territories. They positioned themselves at the edges of forests and grasslands where shrubbery was lower and more accessible. Their wide muzzle represented a perfect adaptation for bulk feeding, allowing them to consume massive quantities of vegetation in each grazing session. This wasn't selective browse like modern deer, but industrial-scale plant processing that required covering vast distances to find sufficient food. These creatures functioned as landscape engineers, reshaping entire ecosystems through their feeding and movement patterns. Their grazing habits influenced plant community distribution and composition across the Pleistocene grasslands. The physical impact of their massive bodies created pathways and clearings that other species would later utilize. Strong, clawed forelimbs served dual purposes, providing both defensive capability and digging tools for accessing underground roots and tubers. The secret to their success lay in energy conservation strategies that other mammals couldn't match. Like all xenarthrans, Glyptodons maintained lower metabolic rates than contemporary mammal groups, requiring less energy to sustain their massive frames. This biological efficiency, combined with specialized digestive systems that extracted maximum nutrition from minimal quality food sources, made their lifestyle sustainable. The Glyptodon's size wasn't a burden requiring constant feeding, but a perfectly evolved solution for extracting every possible calorie from grassland and vegetation. This gentle giant's remarkable adaptation would soon face its greatest test against the apex predators of the Ice Age. The Glyptodon's club-like tail wasn't just for show, it was a bone-crushing weapon that could deter even the most fearsome predators of the Ice Age. This massive herbivore lived in a world where survival meant constant vigilance against creatures designed for killing. The Pleistocene period hosted an impressive roster of apex predators, including the legendary Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat, that shared the Glyptodon's South American habitat. These powerful carnivores possessed razor-sharp canines and muscular bodies built for bringing down large prey. The challenge facing any slow-moving herbivore in this environment was enormous. How could a creature that moved at walking speed defend itself against agile, powerful carnivores equipped with specialized killing tools? The answer lay in the Glyptodon's remarkable tail structure, which functioned as both shield and weapon. The tail was covered in dermal rings and ended in a club-shaped structure adorned with spikes, creating what researchers call a tail mace. This wasn't just defensive equipment, it was an active weapon system capable of delivering devastating blows. Fossil evidence provides direct proof of predator-prey interactions between Glyptodons and their enemies. Fossils show Smilodon puncturing juvenile head shields, proving this saber-toothed cat could target weak spots. However, the thick carapace osteoderms remained impenetrable to even Smilodon's massive canines, forcing predators to focus on specific vulnerable areas. Healed carapace fractures found in fossils suggest that tail blows were also used in territorial fights between Glyptodons themselves. The defensive strategy combined passive protection with active offense. The armored shell served as a fortress, deflecting attacks and providing a secure base from which to launch counterattacks. The Glyptodon would position itself to protect vulnerable areas while keeping its weaponized tail free to strike. This dual system approach proved remarkably effective, as evidenced by fossil records showing healed injuries where Glyptodons survived predator encounters. The effectiveness of this defense system is demonstrated by the Glyptodon's remarkable success across both time and geography. These creatures thrived for millions of years and eventually expanded their range from South America into North America, proving that their defensive adaptations could handle whatever threats they encountered. The combination of impenetrable armor and devastating offensive capability created a survival strategy so effective that it would carry them through countless challenges across vast territories and changing climates. For 5 million years, the Glyptodon conquered every challenge nature threw at it, but its greatest test was yet to come. This armored giant first appeared during the Pliocene epoch around 3.2 million years ago, establishing itself as one of the most successful megafauna species in prehistoric history. Their evolutionary journey spanned multiple geological periods, witnessing dramatic climate shifts, volcanic eruptions, and the rise and fall of countless other species while maintaining their dominance across South American landscapes. The Glyptodon's migration from South America to North America represented one of prehistory's most remarkable continental expansions. About 3 million years ago, when Panama's formation linked the continents during the Great American Biotic Interchange, these armored giants seized the opportunity to colonize new territories. Their presence spread from what is now Texas to South Carolina, demonstrating extraordinary adaptability to diverse climates and environments that would challenge most specialized species. Multiple glacial and interglacial periods tested the Glyptodon's resilience throughout the Pleistocene epoch. These creatures survived temperature fluctuations that eliminated countless other species, adapting their grazing patterns and habitat preferences to match changing grassland ecosystems. The Pampas region provided ideal conditions during their peak years, with semi-humid and temperate conditions, supporting vast grasslands, forests, and mixed shrubbery that sustained their herbivorous lifestyle. During their prime, multiple Glyptodon species thrived across territories spanning from Argentina to North America. Glyptodon reticulatus dominated the Tarija Valley of Bolivia, representing up to 90% of Glyptodontine fossils discovered in the region. Their fossils appeared from lowland Pampas to high Andean mountains, exceeding 4,100 meters in elevation, showcasing their remarkable environmental adaptability. Around 13,000 years ago, rapid climate changes began threatening the grassland habitats these giants depended on for survival. The Pampas experienced dramatic temperature shifts, with mean annual temperatures dropping to 4.2 degrees Celsius compared to modern Buenos Aires, temperatures of 16.4 degrees Celsius. These environmental pressures coincided with the emergence of human hunters around 16,000 years ago, introducing an unprecedented challenge to their survival strategy. The Glyptodon's 5 million year success story across 2 continents proved that adaptation and resilience could overcome almost any natural challenge. Their generalist diet allowed them to occupy ecological niches inaccessible to other grazing species, making them masters of survival in changing environments. However, their encounter with human hunters would reveal a fatal weakness in their otherwise perfect armor. The Glyptodon's impenetrable armor had one fatal flaw that early humans discovered with devastating effectiveness. After millions of years of evolution perfecting defenses against natural predators, these armored giants faced an entirely new type of threat that would exploit weaknesses no saber-toothed cat had ever found. The arrival of human hunters in South America marked a turning point in the Glyptodon's evolutionary story. These early peoples encountered massive, armored creatures unlike anything they had seen before, presenting both opportunity and challenge. Archaeological sites like Moaco and Taima in northwestern Venezuela preserve evidence of these encounters, with human artifacts found alongside Glyptodon remains dating back 19,000 years. The region served as a crucial interchange point between North and South America, making it a natural place for humans and megafauna to cross paths. Confronting a creature the size of a car protected by natural armor required innovative hunting strategies. Early humans faced the daunting task of bringing down animals that weighed as much as modern automobiles, while being protected by shells that could deflect the most powerful predator attacks. Traditional hunting methods used on smaller prey proved inadequate against such formidable targets. Human ingenuity revealed vulnerabilities that nature had never exploited. Skulls of Glyptotherium cylindricum from Moaco and Taima display distinct breakage patterns in the fronto-parietal region, suggesting intentional blows from direct percussion by humans. These fractures occurred ante-mortem or transmortem, indicating they happened around the time of death. Humans discovered the thin spots in the skull armor, where concentrated strikes could penetrate the otherwise impenetrable defense. The vulnerable underbelly presented another critical weakness that spears and sharp weapons could penetrate. While the dorsal shell remained virtually impenetrable, the ventral area lacked the same protective thickness, making it susceptible to attacks from below. This anatomical weakness became a primary target for human hunters, who developed specialized techniques to exploit this vulnerability. Humans utilized every part of these massive creatures with remarkable efficiency. The estimated yield from an adult Glyptotherium cylindricum was approximately 150 to 170 kilograms of potentially accessible muscles and fat, providing substantial food resources for early human communities. Archaeological evidence reveals humans living inside inverted Glyptodon shells, using them as mobile homes and weather protection. The shells offered excellent shelter from harsh environmental conditions and potentially served as refuges from other predators. The Glyptodon's massive weight that helped it survive predator attacks became its doom against human hunters who could target its few weak points. Unlike natural predators that relied on brute force, humans employed intelligence and precision to overcome the creature's defenses. The combination of human pressure and climate change created an impossible situation for these ancient giants. Around 10,000 years ago, the Glyptodon's incredible defense system finally met its match in a perfect storm of environmental change that would end their remarkable evolutionary journey forever. The late Pleistocene extinction swept across the Americas like a biological catastrophe, eliminating massive portions of megafauna and fundamentally altering ecosystems that had remained stable for millions of years. This extinction event marked a critical turning point in continental history, wiping out numerous large mammal species that had dominated their environments for eons. The debate over whether climate change or human hunting caused the Glyptodon's extinction continues among scientists today. The Younger Dryas period, occurring between roughly 12,900 and 11,700 years ago, brought intense cooling that returned Earth to near glacial conditions. This abrupt climate shift placed enormous stress on the Glyptodon and other megafauna, drastically altering their grassland habitats and potentially causing severe declines in food sources and overall population numbers. Rapid environmental changes transformed the vast grasslands that Glyptodons had called home for millions of years into completely different ecosystems. The specialized adaptations that had made these creatures so successful suddenly became liabilities in rapidly changing conditions. Their massive size and slow reproduction rates made population recovery impossible once populations began declining, creating an insurmountable challenge for species survival. The final population struggled with habitat loss while facing increasing human hunting pressure. Archaeological evidence suggests humans found the Glyptodon's carapace useful as shelter against harsh weather, adding hunting pressure to environmental stress. The combination of factors created an impossible situation for these ancient giants whose inability to adapt quickly to changing environments ultimately sealed their fate. The Glyptodon's extinction demonstrates how even the most successful evolutionary adaptations can become weaknesses when environments change faster than evolution can respond, teaching us profound lessons about adaptation survival and the fragility of even the most robust species. Today's conservation challenges echo the very pressures that doomed the Glyptodon, proving that even the mightiest defenses can't outpace sudden environmental shifts. This armored giant's legacy serves as both an inspiration and a warning, profoundly influencing our understanding of evolution, extinction, and the delicate balance between species and their environments, a vital lesson for our own endangered giants and the adaptations we build today.